What? One flight of stairs up, and I run into problems. The second floor hallway is a carbon copy of the third floor one. Wide, of course, and plain, like only hallways can be. The problem is the library's whereabouts are not as easily determined as one would think. Classrooms are marked with signs stating which class they belong to, but then there's a plethora of other unmarked rooms. Is the library one of them? Or is it just somewhere down the hallway? I bet on the latter and choose my direction at random. That always works. After I turn around, an unmarked door draws my attention because it's not closed. It's not open either, though, just barely ajar so I could see it's open, and nothing else. God. It would make more sense for the library door to be invitingly open. While this one is not quite that, it's good enough. At the very least, it means that someone's inside and I can ask for directions, no matter how embarrassing that is. I gingerly push on the center of the door with my fingertips. Every muscle in my arm is ready to pull back at a moment's notice. The feeling of being an outsider to this school can't be shaken from my mind, so much so that I instinctively fear doing something wrong by entering. That is a weird sound. The door this door slowly creaks open as if groaning from a deep sleep, though is much easier to open than I anticipated. Leaning over and poking my head even further inside to gain a sight of the room as fast as possible, the meek hello on my lips is quickly snatched away. Girl? Cute girl? This is not as I was expecting. I mindlessly let the door open to its full extent, taking in the sight of the solitary figure, taking center stage in the otherwise abandoned room. The situation steals my voice, leaving me standing in the doorway, staring at a beautiful girl. Evidently, having taken her time to assess the situation, the girl gently puts down her teacup and opens her eyes. But she doesn't look at me. Hello there. May I help you? Staring directly in front of herself, these movements on her lips seem to break the silence rather than the words. However, it's the soft, measured voice that reminds me that she's being separate from the room itself. Not only is she likely the tallest girl I've ever laid eyes on, but even among the foreigners I've met, she's strikingly distinct. Hi, sorry for intruding. I was just kind of lost. She takes a moment to formulate a response before speaking. Every action she takes feels as if it's carefully choreographed beforehand. Care to take a seat? Unexpected, considering I'm intruding upon her. Thanks. I slowly step towards another seat opposite her, the girl resting the teacup and saucer on a wooden table in between. The way she doesn't track my movements with her head is telling. That, and the slight cloudiness in her eyes, means she must be at least partially blind like Kenji. Come to think of it, her voice doesn't have any detectable accent either. Guess she must be half Japanese. I guess we're all Japanese here. As I take my seat, her composure takes me slightly off guard. Her air of relaxed confidence makes the silence entirely comfortable. The calming atmosphere is so different from the student council office. I take it you're a new student at Yamaku? Yes, I just transferred yesterday. I get the distinct feeling my speech patterns don't match the formality of hers, accentuated by her restrained bow of greeting, on which I hasten to match before realizing the futility of the action. I am Lily Sato. Pleased to meet you. Hisao Nakai. She gives a nod before gesturing roughly in the direction of her teacup. Would you care for a drink? Sure. As much as it pains me, I can't keep step with her formality in the proceedings. She gives a nod, taking the request in stride. I'm actually going to sip my own tea. Fuck that. That's good. Without another word, she steps off the chair and prepares a second cup of tea from a collection of supplies laid out along a shelf. A brush here, a brush there. Her left hand awfully lightly touching the side of whichever container she's pouring into. Seems to be a process she's followed dozens of times before. As I lean sideways to see around her back, she seems to use her long, dainty fingers to measure the right amount of water in the cup. Or did I just... Okay. As I lean sideways to see around her back, she seems to use her long, dainty fingers. Okay. It's one thing to see the different disabilities the students in my class have, but it's quite another to see how everyone seems to adapt. Shizune and Misha have no problem working together to communicate to me, and Lily herself seems to have workarounds for the problems I'd never thought of. While I feel slightly guilty about her doing the work, she seems pleased to be following the correct process of the offerer preparing the drink. So, her voice brings me out of the silent observance. She's so pretty. Which room were you looking for? It's not often this classroom is visited after school. The school library. Shizune and some classmates told me that it was on this floor. She finishes pouring the water into the teacup as she nods, a small metallic tapping coming from the teacups indicating it's being stirred. I'm aware of Miss Takamichi, as are most students. To be with them means you're in class 3-3, no? That's right, in the science room with Muto. She gives a small giggle. So why is it a science room if that's his only classroom? Right? Wouldn't that just be like an everything room? Or do we only learn science all day? How's that work? She gives a small giggle before setting down the teaspoon and slowly walking towards the table, teacup and saucer in hand. He's quite the character. I imagine you'll come to like him. There's so much construction outside my room right now. He's quite the character. I imagine you'll come to like him. Most do. She's so big compared to us. Also, where's our tea? As she sets down the tea, I gently take it and have a sip. I'm really more of a coffee person, but this seems rather a bad moment to bring it up. Nonetheless, the smell's quite nice. I hardly think it'd be hard to choke down. Thanks, Sato. Tastes really nice. She smiles and quickly waves her hand in front of her face. Lily, please, there's no need to be too formal. She says this in spite of her exceedingly well-bred speech. Don't call it well-bred. Oh well. I guess I should try to ask her about herself, as it really does seem she's catering to me. So which class are you from? I imagine it's one of the third-year classes. Correct. I'm class 3-2, which is on the third floor, same as yours. It's taught by Miyagi, and is specifically for both blind and partially blind students. I see. I mean, sorry. I feel like slapping myself for the faux pas, looking at her face, though she doesn't even seem the least bit put off by it. My, there's no need to change your speech on my account. Sure, I guess I'm really just showing my newness here. An environment like this would be a big change, so I can't fault you for it. While the same can't be said for everyone, many have come to terms with their conditions. Category which include her, it seems. All too ready to jump ship from this particular topic, I segue into another. Do you come here to drink tea often? It's a really nice place. Thinking on it, this might be her version of the place behind my school that I like to have lunch at. I come here fairly often during the lunch times. My duties as class representative don't leave me enough time for an official club, so a friend and I use this room for having tea. Class representative, huh? Compared to Shizune, her mannerisms seem to be Her mannerisms seem to be almost completely opposite. While Shizune is blunt and fiercely driven, Lily seems to be relaxed and calm, almost aloof. Come to think of it, she might be useful for a less biased view on the school's clubs. What kinds of clubs are there to join? The more popular ones are the track and field club, which uses the field near the school during the lunch times, the baseball club, the book club in the room near the library. There are also numerous small ones too, though, such as the art and music clubs. At a time when I'm just wanting to get on my feet, rushing into a club right away seems slightly unappealing. I wonder if the school shares the same rule as my old one. Is it compulsory to join a club? Compulsory? It isn't, though it's encouraged. Ah, good. That's a relief. I really let down my guard around this girl to let such a thing slip out. The fact seems to slightly amuse her. Not wanting my tea to get cold, I finally start drinking. As it is, Lily does the same. As I look over to the window over her shoulder, I notice the light coming into the room as distinctly has an orange tint. My brain doesn't work, I swear. I'm also laying down now, sorry if I'm out of frame. Even here, time doesn't stand still. Time's gone really quickly. Sorry? Right, she's blind. Fuck. Of course, she can't see the sun setting. It just looks like the sun's starting to set. I don't know what that is. Okay, so like when the sun goes, it's like orange. Sorry, it's fucked up. Seems to come as a surprise to her. I guess she must have lost track of the time. How does she keep track of the time? Someone must come and talk to her, right? Sorry, Asao. I didn't mean to keep you from the library so long. I quickly moved to allay her concern. No, it's okay. The library's still open, isn't it? She pauses and takes a moment to think on it. Why does nobody know? It's probably something I should have asked Shizune when I had the chance, but Lily seems to likely know in any case. True. It's open until 6:30 during the weekdays. What do you mean? We did ask Shizune, didn't we? And then they were like, haha, I don't know. It could be. Sorry. It's open until 6:30 and during weekdays. Quick glance at my watch confirms that I have well enough time to get there. Well, I might get going in that case. It's been nice talking with you, Lily. She smiles and gives a deep nod, her hands neatly folded on the table in front of her. It was my pleasure. Oh, come to think of it, shall I show you to where the library is? I couldn't possibly ask for more help. I should be able to find it all right. Unless my navigational skills fail me, which they seem a habit of doing. It's all right. I was going to talk to the librarian there in any case. I could introduce you. This gets better and better. It's pretty hard to deny our offer. Well, if you're sure, then that'd be great. Thanks. As she stands up to follow me, she takes a hold of a straight, retractable cane that had been slipped into the handle of her bag on the floor. Compared to the cane the boy in my class had, Lily's looked so much thinner and longer. His must be for support, whereas Lily's is for navigation. God, my nose itches so bad. Together, we leave this peaceful room and enter the empty hallway on the way to the library. Side by side, my pace carefully slowed to match hers, we slowly walk through the hallway. It doesn't take long for us to arrive at the door with a warm-looking room, apparently situated at the center of the floor rather than either wing. Ladies first. She gives an appreciative smile at the gesture, taking the lead as we file in.